You can clearly see oil. I'm very pissed off because this seems to be my mistake. Everything assembled after many hours. Hello everyone. Well, it finally happened. A big major failure on Renault Scenic. What happened here is that the oil from the engine oil mixed with the coolant. Basically the worst case scenario you could get. The spillage here you can see is because it was overfilling, and then when I took the cap off it spilled down there. So basically, as it looks like right now, all the oil from the engine went into the coolant system. Why this happened can be multiple reasons. One is head gasket. There can be a crack in the head or the block, or it can be the oil cooler down there. You can see the oil cooler and the filter. So what happens according to internet is that there is a crack inside, and then because of the oil pressure, the oil is having a stronger pressure, and then it enters the cooling system. Therefore it overfills here and goes everywhere in the coolant system. So this will be a big task. I hope it's that. If it's not that, then it is something bigger here with the engine head and the block. We will see. Now I slowly take apart everything. Need to drain the oil from the radiator, strangely said, but yeah, that's the current status. I'll try to record everything and we see where we end up. This is what I took apart so far. I also drained the coolant, which is now oil. This is the oil filter housing. Basically, when I took it apart, I noticed that the housing, the oil cooler actually is like this. Not sure if you can notice, there is play which shouldn't be there, which means this shaft is not fully screwed in. That's probably the reason why the coolant and oil mixed. This is now the oil cooler. Basically, this is where the filter housing goes. This is filter housing, so you put it on this side here, screw it with this. You see, what goes bad are these seals which I replaced before, and yeah, this is basically the screw which holds the cooler. You see the cooler is kinda damaged here. This is because of previous maintenance work where this couldn't be taken off. Like right now I couldn't take off the oil filter, and here's the issue. So I guess from the movement and excessive movement, this seal basically went away, and this is the issue. This seal is basically the issue here. Here we can see where the water is flowing. So that's the part. There is a mesh inside, and because this was not sealing, water entered somehow to the oil filter. But I think the issue is also inside, and then through this, maybe here, yeah, inside maybe it can be seen. It's a bit uneven. Anyway, I ordered brand new part and will need to wait for it, but that's the problem here, and why the oil went to the cooling system. So this it sits like this on the engine, and if this seal is bad and if the connection is not good, obviously oil flowing from here would enter inside and slowly go through the system. That's the problem, luckily, and nothing else. So here we are, a short overview of what's going on with this Scenic. Unfortunately, very tedious task now to clean everything, and while cleaning everything you make things like this. Broken pipe now, broken hose or whatever. Need to clean the expansion container, reservoir, all the hoses, thermostat, inside here, the radiator, every area where the oil went, and this is the issue that caused it. So over time, taking off this filter is a nightmare for whatever reason, even if you tighten it with the hand. Over time doing it, and then this gets loose here, this starts moving, this starts tearing apart, especially if it's old. Then the water starts entering the oil, or the oil starts entering the coolant, and everywhere where the coolant is going. So now we need to clean everything, wait for the parts. I took off thermostat housing and thermostat itself. Now let's see what's inside the engine. You can clearly see oil. This needs to be cleaned out, as oil is not supposed to be there. Oh, perfect. You see, maybe it can zoom in. Yeah, this is what needs to be cleaned out. The block, the head, here's the thermostat itself. I'm very pissed off because this seems to be my mistake, not checking this when I was taking apart this. I did replace the gaskets and I didn't check this if it's tightened properly. That's why I am amateur do-it-yourself mechanic. And here you can see thermostat also full of shit. And this one also got broken. You see there, maybe I can cut it here and then use the rest of it, otherwise I would need to get that. I really try to thoroughly clean, but I'm not sure if I will manage to clean it everything in one go. Here I right now took off the reservoir for coolant. I'm cleaning it. I will show you how I plan to do it. Yeah, there is one hose down there, which is basically opposite of this one, and that's the one where you take it off and let the coolant flow out of the car. There is two hoses going to the cabin. I already cleaned, I think I cleaned everything regarding them. I was pushing the air here and putting the chemicals and everything. A lot of mess now. Here's the reservoir. You can see oil deposits inside all over the place. Here this radiator flush additive. Usually you use this when engine can run, but this engine cannot run at the moment. So what I plan to do is pour some cold water, some stuff of this, not everything, and then add warm water to it, and hopefully that will break down the sludge that is there because of the oil. I know it would be easier to buy another reservoir, but I didn't want to spend extra money on this. Already ordered a lot of parts for the car. This is original Renault. Here I'm checking the inside of the head. A little bit hard to record. You see some dirt, but mostly it came off. The rest of it should come off when I put the radiator flush. This is water, by the way, because of cleaning. Probably some oil, but yeah. Now I need to clean that area where thermostat goes, and then put some gasket, liquid gasket. Probably don't need it, but I always add a bit of extra protection. And then I need to assemble the hoses. Need to clean the area or the entry point for the oil cooler. Rain started, which is really nice in these conditions. What I did so far is clean the thermostat. You need to clean it thoroughly because oil will get stuck in the spring and the thermostat itself, inside on the sensor. Clean the hoses while they are on the car. This one goes to the inside the heating element. There is one more coming out. Here we have like multi-way thing from where two little hoses go to the supposed missing oil cooler, oil cooler goes to the block down here. You can barely see it. I now try to clean that around where the cooler sits with its gasket, and yeah, then waiting for the new cooler, should arrive soon. I cleaned the expansion bottle as much as I could. This deposit couldn't be taken off. I used all sorts of degreasers, hot water, everything, and simply doesn't come off. It looks darker than it is. I filled it with water multiple times and nothing is coming out of it, so there shouldn't be large debris. But as I said, anyway, I'll be running two rounds of engine coolant flush additive stuff. That will take some time. I will record that as well. Now I'm waiting for the cooler, and then I will assemble it and all the remaining hoses. There is one more down here which you cannot see, somewhere up there on the bottom of the radiator, and there is where you are releasing or taking all the coolant off. That's where it will easily go out. Yes, rain started, so we'll see where I end up. And the new cooler is here. You will need socket 32 for the bolt which is holding it. It goes like this on the car, and this bolt goes through it to the block. Everything assembled after many hours. I added brand new oil, new air filter, new cabin filter, coolant. I need to flush it later. Now I'm waiting for the temperature operating temperature, and obviously it needs to suck in some of the coolant, and also later need to put it all together. Engine is working well, no weird noises as you can hear, no leaks. Because it's dark, it's really hard to see. I'll probably continue tomorrow. Today is the second day after I did the major work with the hoses and cleaning the oil, and the car covered around 45-50 kilometers. It was idling on the day when I completed the work. That was 2 days ago. It worked quite a lot, yeah, quite some hours. After 45 kilometers we can see that the oil is accumulating inside the reservoir. Because oil is lighter than water, it obviously floats, therefore it's looking for the highest point, and the expansion bottle here is the highest point for it to appear. And here you can see how it's looking. It's only a thin layer of oil, and now what I want to do, obviously we will need to do many flushes, probably more than two, but for today I want to do one flush. So before I start the flush I will release everything that is in the coolant system, and then I will put the flush additive for radiator, and then we will see what comes out of it after one operating temperature is reached. The work I did before down there didn't show any leaks. You see I used kinda the weird clamps for the hoses, but they are easy to remove because the space here is really cramped, and they are working, they are not leaking. Coolant oil cooler is brand new down there. If the work didn't succeed we would see this reservoir full of oil again, so it was definitely oil cooler, and later I will tell you more at the end of video why this happened and who is to blame. You can maybe already guess, but yeah, it's taking a while now to record everything, and I apologize for the cuts and weak quality. Here you can see the hose which goes to the radiator, and this is the point where you need to release the coolant out of the radiator and the whole system. I will now do that, and then we will see what comes out. As we can see it's draining now. Will take some time. I will also flush it with the hose here. Hopefully I can get everything. Can try helping it with a bit pushing the hoses. Yeah, this is after not treating it with anything, just first drain after my 45-50 kilometers drive. You see it's not that bad, but still oil in the system. The red color is because of 1 liter of antifreeze coolant I put in. The rest is pretty much distilled water. Now I need to add the chemicals for flushing, add the coolant or distilled water, let the car run, add more to leave all the air from the system to get it rid of the out of the system, and then drive a bit more and then drain again. after flushing with the hose, garden hose. Now it's time to assemble two hoses I disconnected. Here's the one, see there, that's the one I took off to flush this area as well. So, but you cannot achieve much. Disassembling everything, I don't want to do that. I will now assemble the radiator hose, this hose, and put the special additive I mixed here. Engine now works. We put the chemical in and we wait for operating temperature, obviously. When operating temperature is reached, it will suck in water from the container or the chemical, and then we will add some more, wait for bubbles. Yeah. It's been 40 minutes, maybe even 1 hour. I let the car run and take the air out. Did it several times. Pushed some coolant out, or the chemical. Some oil still, probably from the reservoir mostly. But I guess it takes some from inside of radiators of the engine itself. And now we need to take it out. It's probably hot, so I'll wait a bit and then we'll take it out into the bucket. Here is what came out. This is one flush. You see, it still has oil in it. Yeah, now I need to wash more. A trick I found: you can take this hose, so this is for the heating inside of the cabin. Plug that with your hand, take something like a glove, and then blow into it here, and it will basically purge everything throughout this hose and through everything else where these go. So basically all the water will come out. Maybe I can show it because I already took some out. You hear only some left. Now I need to wash that and we see. But before we wash, we must wait for the engine to cool down. Right now it's still hot. Slightly hot. Yeah, so we are basically waiting. I'm done cleaning, and now while I wait for car to warm up, to purge the air, to add more coolant, I'm going to show you why this happened. It happened because of my mistake, basically. Maybe because of this gasket, but I would say it's mostly human error. You see inside a little fins. This is where water is flowing inside, and through this there is a bolt which goes to the block of the engine. This is 1.5 60 kilowatt Renault engine from 2003, December 2003, if it means anything. Basically what happened is that over time, yeah, let me maybe first explain. So there is a bolt here, goes to the block like so here, and to that bolt is the housing of the oil filter. You see here, this is oil filter, and it goes on the housing, which basically then through that bolt picks up the oil and filtrates it before returning, yeah, any debris and such. So it basically was that bolt was loose, and this was not fully seated on the block. It was basically loose when I unscrewed it. And what happened then, because that connection between this and the housing was not proper, the oil started pushing towards the coolant system inside the fins, and then through these holes it went to the rest of the car. That's why this happened, and this sits something like so, in this direction. This is here for a reason, because there is another pipe with multiple entries and exit points which needs to align so that it doesn't touch it. Basically this cooler is still functional. You only need a gasket, but finding a gasket just that is not easy. See, it's old and tearing apart. Yeah, this engine has a really big problem with fuel filter, with the oil filter. No matter how much you tighten it with hand, it still somehow gets stuck on that housing, and it's impossible, basically near impossible, to remove it. So for those having this car, make sure this part is not loose. Even if the housing feels solid, you still need to check if it moves even a little bit. The connection between this and the housing, oil filter housing, needs to be strong, and this needs to be bolted properly to the block of the engine. So I would say failure here because of human mistake. I say human mistake because I was not checking, yeah, is this solidly attached. And then we have multiple issues now with the coolant. Luckily this was caught on time, so to speak. I noticed it right away. Otherwise, yeah, it could have been much worse situation for this engine. I bought new cooler, you can see here, Top Run. For those interested, here's the part number. Yes, you obviously need to change the oil filter itself. Although water didn't enter the filter and the oil pan, yeah, what to do when you lost so much oil. I think the car pushed around 2.5 liters into the oil system, into the cooling system, and cleaning it out is really difficult. As you saw, it would probably take some time to, yeah, purge it, everything. If not, then the only solution is to replace the radiator, the water pump, thermostat housing, the pipe which goes from the water pump to the rest, and interior cabin radiator, mini one, which is for the heating. Now we wait and see when the car warms up what's the situation with the reservoir. One important note: when bleeding the system, you obviously take the cap off. You fill it to the max, wait for operating temperature, turn the heating on, and let the car take the coolant that you put in. When it takes it, add more, obviously, to get it faster heated, turn off the heating inside the car, then wait for the level to rise. Sometimes there is overfill, so coolant coming out of the expansion bottle because of the air, until air comes out, so it pushes some of the coolant out. You kinda need to turn on and off the interior heating, obviously take it to the max, to the heating, and wait and observe the reservoir. Observe the reservoir because, as I said, coolant will come out for the air to, travel through it, so expanding. For that reason it's called expansion reservoir. And then when you are ready, take it to the minimum, as I did here. Observe, so around the minimum, observe the level, see if it expands towards the maximum, and if it stays there at the ideal operating temperature. It's a bit complicated, but I think you get what I mean. So don't always keep the level at the maximum while bleeding, otherwise a lot more coolant goes out. I also replaced air filter. I was before this preparing for a bigger maintenance, wanted to do strut mount, axle, something else, and the filters, of course. Here you can see heavy filter, not bad, but still some debris. And the cabin filter as well, about 1 year old. Really not bad. I mean, this is all done now, and yeah, that is it for this pretty much long and exhausting situation. The car is working now. The air came out. What else to say? Be careful. Always double check. Always double check things that you are working on. If I checked the cooler, I wouldn't be in this situation now, and I wasted probably 2 days of time checking, cleaning, figuring out, not to mention the stress. I mean, it's not an expensive car, but still, you need a car while you have an issue. So anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.